Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
He's alive!
Welcome to Where the Weird Ones Are.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out.
Powerful figures in Hollywood as well as powerful politicians who are in fact not human. They're reptiles or they're lizards or perhaps extraterrestrials.
I don't think it is a human. I think it's a Sasquatch.
Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Let's get weird.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. This is part 2 to Conspiracy Tuesday. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. I have 3 guests with me today. They are very lovely people. I enjoy listening to them talk, and I enjoy their company. To know her is to love her. She's been on the show twice now. Her name is Jenny, if you're freaky. She is 305 Paranormal. You remember her with her husband Armando. So Jenny, you want to say hi to the people and let them know where they can find you?
Yes. Well, thank you again for having me. I love talking to you and talking to everybody else on here. I think we have a great dialogue and it's fun and we just get everything out. So again, thank you for having me. So my name is Jenny and me and my husband, Armando, he'll plug in or something real quick. So we are 305 Paranormal on our social medias on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And I am a paranormal investigator with a larger team in South Florida called War Party Paranormal. And yeah, so we host events and mainly our thing is residentials and helping people out like that in the paranormal field. Here, just pop in and say hi because they can't hear you.
I heard my name.
There you go.
What's up, buddy?
Right. He can't hear you. So yeah, that's my husband Armando. So we are 305 Paranormal and all our findings and evidence and just stuff I do and places that we go to is where I post that. So thank you.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today, Jenny.
And I love all the conspiracy and weird shit. So this is where I'm at for
that. Perfect. So the next lovely lady that I have on this panel today, I've been on her show. She is a very lovely woman, very good, really good storytelling voice, as I've told you all before. She has a podcast called The Conversation Cabin. Farah, let everybody say hi, let everybody know where they can find you and your final thoughts, I guess, today. I mean, I know this is an intro, but we can get into that.
Of course. Well, hello, all you weird ones out there. My name is Farah. Kevin is right. I'm the host of The Conversation Cabin, where I cover everything from the paranormal, the strange, unexplained, and everything in between. And you can find me on Instagram at The Conversation Cabin, also on TikTok. You can go email me if you would like to be on a show and tell me your scary experience at theconversationcabin@gmail.com. And I drop an episode every Tuesday and Saturday, 7 p.m. Central Time. So come on over and explore your strange.
I love listening to you talk.
That's awesome.
And last but not least, she has also been on the show. I also love listening to her talk. On her podcast, she goes by Mrs. Spooky Obsessed. Not only does she have a pretty smile, she has a pretty personality. What's up, Vicky? Plug in your stuff and say hi.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me back on the show again on this Conspiracy Tuesday. My name is Vicky of the Mrs. Spooky Obsess. You could find me on Instagram and TikTok at Mrs. Spooky Obsess. And if you want to learn more, please go to the link tree on my Instagram bio, and you'll be able to find the rest of my information, the little website, the where you can find the podcast, the Pinterest. I mean, I love Pinterest, sorry. And that's it. What else would you like to know?
That was perfect. And I appreciate
Not
you
really.
all for coming on. And we should do it again.
Oh, definitely.
We'll be
These
here.
girls are great. I've enjoyed meeting Jenny
Thank you.
and chatting with her. You have some great, the outlook on some of the things was, I like it. I'm the same way, so that was good. And of course, it's always nice to see Vicky and Kevin. You're always amazing to talk to. So
Thank you. I appreciate it. You should have Jenny and Armando on your show. Actually, they have
Yes,
some
I
really interesting
should.
stories. Actually, Jenny was the first person to make me cry on my fucking podcast. So
yes. I made him cry. And then I cried and we cried together.
Well, then maybe we'll cry about his crying, and then yeah, I would love to talk to you about coming on.
That'd be great. That's funny.
All right, everybody. So without further ado, we'll get into this show. Thanks for joining us. So, you know how there's a shit ton of flags now for fucking so many different fucking groups, right? Well, I have a collection here of flags, and I'm going to teach you all about the flags for all the people here in America. So, if you are fucking white, like myself and Farah, then this is your flag in America. If you are black and you live in America, this is your flag. If you are Hispanic and you live in America, this is your flag.
Whoop.
If you are Asian and you live in America, this is your flag. And I'm probably cutting out a whole bunch of other races, but you get the point. If you are gay and you live in America, this is your flag. If you are trans and you live in America, this is your fucking flag. If you're lesbian, this is your fucking flag. So there's a whole bunch of shit out there. There's all these flags for all these different groups. And I think I get it in a way, but at the same time, whether you immigrated or you were born here in America and you become an American citizen, we all unite underneath the stars and the stripes. And I think the more flags we add for these little subgroups, I think takes away from our unity. So with that being said, I think the more that we focus on what we have in common, the more we can unite rather than cause division, which we all know the elites, the deep state, they don't want us to connect because we have the numbers, we the people have the numbers, and we outnumber them 100 to 1. So they all want us bickering and fighting over fucking gender, over fucking pronouns, over fucking some fucking stupid ass beer. That's fucking disgusting to begin with. So I don't know how the fuck anybody drinks that shit to begin with. But yeah, so I'm an American. This is my flag. I don't fly any others. And with that being said, there was something else that I wanted to say with all of that. I just think, so you remember that gay club that got shot up? I think it was in Florida, right?
Orlando. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So there was this part in, so I was watching it on the news, and I can't remember what year it was, but it was a while ago. and they were interviewing this guy, and he's like, "Oh my god, it was our rendition of 9/11." And like literally I'm sitting on my couch and I'm like, "What the fuck? Are you not American?" Like 9/11 is your rendition of fucking 9/11. What the fuck are you talking about? So like they separate themselves from the rest of us on, like they do it, and then they tell us that we're fucking bigots, or we're have phobias and shit. But they already in their minds have separated from us, from our country, from our flag. So that's why I bring up the flag thing. So anyways, not that I have any problem of anybody's sexual preference or anything like that. As long as you are doing what you do with consenting adults and you're not hurting anybody, especially children, I don't give a fuck what you do. So with that, today we're going to get into some conspiracies that revolve around our government, our military, and we are going to get into Operation Highjump. Vicky, have you heard about Operation Highjump?
No, I have not. Sorry to say. Yeah.
All right. So, Operation Highjump, it revolves around a gentleman by the name of Admiral Byrd, and so it's the U.S. Navy. And I'm gonna give the floor to Jenny so she can talk about that. But I just want to say that he is actually a descendant of Pocahontas, and
really, I didn't know
that John guy. I can't fucking remember his last name for the life of me. It's not John Smith, because I know the cartoon it was Pocahontas and John Smith, but she actually married another guy named John. And Admiral Richard Byrd is a descendant of, I think they're his grandparents, Pocahontas and this John guy. So I just thought that was an interesting thing that I actually learned today.
Super cool. I have not. Out of all the crap I've read, I've never even read that. It's crazy.
So, all right. So Jen, if you want to get into it, that'd be great.
Yes. So, like you said, Operation Highjump, led by Admiral U.S. Navy Richard E. Byrd, and that operation that the Navy wanted to have them go through, it was in 1946 to 47. So timelines, maybe I don't know if I wanted to say some dates first, just to keep like a little timeline thing. Let's do this. World War II started 1939, ends in 45, right? All right. So supposedly, not supposedly, because it was the first nuclear test maybe around 1945. Operation Highjump started in 46 through 47. And a key to this, because of whole UFO thing, right? The Roswell, New Mexico crash was in 47. So yeah, like 2 years after the war ended, and basically right after like Highjump, and the U.S. funded a new naval craft, a UFO craft in 1950. So general consensus is that U.S. got documents from the Nazis when the war ended, and their scientists scattered around like South America, Argentina, Uruguay, stuff like that, and Antarctica, because they made a base over there. And all the top scientists left. The U.S. got their documents, and they're the ones that, trying to like reverse engineer these UFO crashes. Then that's when the U.S. started seeing all the Roswell, I think, is that really. So supposedly what the U.S. wanted Richard to go do was check training in Arctic weathers, testing equipment. But what they really did, what also his like secret mission was to see if there was any like Nazi base over there, and if he found any Germans, and maybe that was like their hideout, right? So, but when he was, what the hell? Where are my notes? So they took 2 subs, 13 ships, and over 4,000, like almost 5,000 men over there, and they were supposed to be there for 8 months, but they left in 16 weeks. So
That's a lot of guys for a training exercise.
and
Just
for
saying.
like testing shit. No, I mean he literally made a base called Little America. Like, why would you do all that and then just dip?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wait,
I
was
think
it called Little America or was it called Little Argentina?
no, Little America.
Oh, okay.
But is there a Little Argentina? Because
I thought I might have read it that way mistakenly.
yeah.
Because I know well, Hitler didn't die, he fled to Argentina. So
Argentina. Yeah.
and
And
they have a little Germany in Argentina. They have a German town in Argentina because that's where a lot of the Third Reich ran to.
yeah, they're like all over there.
Yeah.
So while he was there, he would do some test flights and he would go through over the mountains. And on one of his expeditions, he crossed over like this huge mountain, and he went alone. I think he went alone. And he was talking back on his radio transmission, and he was just explaining like what he was seeing and how, like, all the valleys, whatever, everything's still ice. And then he got to one point where he said that the sky had changed color, and he started seeing like kind of like grass and like forest, and like in the valley, like under, like there was like a stream or a river. And at one point he thought he saw like a creature, like some type of big ass animal. And then he was talking about it. He's like, it's something big, I don't know, it kind of looks like a mammoth, but at that point obviously dinosaurs don't exist anymore. And then he was like, it is a mammoth. Like, so he had all his little notes and stuff like that there. He kept a diary, but we'll get to that later. And then when he saw the stream and the river and the valleys, and he said it was warm too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing that I think I read somewhere that the Nazis had discovered. There was one area there where it's not cold anymore, and I don't know what the hell that's at. Maybe it's inside somewhere.
Yeah, so supposedly that's like he said that I guess he said that it was like a little bit of a dome.
Mhm.
I think maybe. I could be wrong though. So I mean, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Interrupt all you want. And then eventually he gets to this point where he sees, like, well, he called it a shiny city. And when he got there, there was 2 crafts that were now like not following him, but like kind of like on his ass basically, and directing him into one point. And his radio got hijacked, like his own, like, what is that? What would you call it?
The
radio, right?
CB or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were like saucer shaped, right? The crafts that were following him.
I don't remember, but I kind of want to say yes.
I feel like that's what it was, because, and I also think that he recalled them coming out of the water, like like they're in the water, and maybe not not the 2 that were following him, but I remember, if I remember correctly, that he said that the water kind of like gave way, like it was a gate that opened and the water was falling into this hole, and these crafts came up out of it.
Yeah.
So
And then so he heard a transmission, and the transmission was like, the person knew his name and told him, like, I guess, I don't know if it told him exactly not to be scared or whatever, but they were gonna direct him and to go speak to whoever was there. And basically the message was that they are like an intelligent race, and that they were there because they knew that, I'm assuming it's because of remember I told you about the nuclear bomb came off the year before. So they knew that they were there because they were now keeping an eye on us, because we're playing with some shit we shouldn't be playing with, basically.
Yeah.
And to take that message back, if not, I don't even think he probably would have made it out of there, really. To take that message back, and when he did, He came back to base. He was like telling everybody about it. He was like freaked out. So that's the whole, like, you were supposed to be there for like almost a year and you leave in like weeks building all this crap. And he retreated down to Chile, and he went to DC for a debrief. He told them everything. They confiscated all of his paperwork, journals and stuff like that of everything he saw. And he told them, well, they told him, because he was talking to the press also in like South America.
Yeah.
And so there's articles out there of like his interview and what his findings were before he got called to DC.
Yeah.
And
There's videos of interviews
Yeah.
too.
I haven't seen the videos. I would love to see that, because I can't even find them. I've seen articles, but not the videos.
All right. Maybe it could be just audio, because I know I've come across I definitely come across audio, but I assume that they came from video.
Yeah,
But then again, back in like the 40s and 50s, video wasn't the same as it is now. So like they used the tape recorders or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And they told him to basically like shut up and stop talking about it. And but he did keep a diary, and he gave his diary to his son. And his son is the one who now, I guess, let it be known or something. I don't know. After he died, I don't know what he did with it, but
leaked it. He leaked the diary. Yeah.
He leaked it.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was actually Admiral Byrd that was flying the plane. I think it was a lieutenant, and he came back and told Admiral Byrd, and then Admiral Byrd was the one that was. But I'm pretty sure I don't know. I mean, you could be right, but so
And you could be right.
Yeah. And go back to the mammoth that he said that he saw. It's funny because they're actually talking about reintroducing the woolly mammoth to the Alaskan wilderness in 2027. So they have DNA from like the fuck is it called, the ice caps in Alaska, and they're finding all these bones of mammoths and shit.
I remember seeing that they found one. They found one recently. They've been finding for quite a few, actually.
Yeah, they're a lot. It's a lot. So there's this guy, he was actually on Joe Rogan, and he owns this whole like property in Alaska, like acres, and it's permafrost. That's the fucking word. So he's been melting this permafrost, and all these bones are coming out, and his property is what he calls the boneyard. So he said he's tried fucking woolly mammoth meat, because like some of them still have meat on them. So
they've actually, not to interrupt you, Kevin, but they've actually found recently a baby lion cub in the permafrost. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was that guy's property that you were speaking of, but it I mean, I saw it. It's a little cub about this big, and it's just laying there. I mean, you can see its whiskers still. It was
still
adorable.
Has its fur and everything on it.
It was in like almost perfect condition. So it does always make you wonder, not only the woolly mammoth, but will they be attempting to try to recreate? I mean, haven't you always wondered if Jurassic Park, when that movie came out, where was someone's brain at that time going to write a story like that?
Right. So this gentleman did say that he's found like skulls of saber-tooths, but he never had found anything with like fur and meat to it. So but he did say that he found a lot of mammoths that still had their fat and their meat and their fur to them. So
there was a baby that they found, an entire baby. And again,
it was in Alaska?
I don't know if it was on this guy's property, but yes, it was over in like Siberia, not in Alaska. My apologies. I should have said that. But it's where over there where it is just a vast land of where the woolly mammoth and the saber tooth and dinosaur bones and everything have come up. And like this guy has a freezer and a whole lab where, I mean, in the one freezer you opened up and there is a complete baby woolly mammoth, complete trunk, back,
Wow.
everything. And it's just amazing. I should see what that is that I watched. If I'm thinking correctly, I'm thinking it was something on Discovery Plus, like a documentary.
Didn't
And
National Geographic do an article about that a couple years ago?
and I think it was just about bringing the woolly mammoth back, but this is a documentary that goes deeper into what else have they been finding there, and that it used to be they were just finding tusks and little tiny bits of DNA. Now, this place in Siberia, they have gotten big amounts of DNA where they can almost draw the link to maybe have that little step up more. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'll have to find it and send it to you because, again, this is a gentleman. I remember he has like dark, thin, straggly hair, kind of balding, and he has glasses. That's what he looks like. And like I said, I'll look it up and I'll try to find it and send it to you to see. But he's gone more into it than just a couple years ago where it started coming out that they were attempting to do it.
Okay.
And you mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned the permafrost. So I don't know if you know, but they have found a like super deadly virus.
Of course they have.
Oh my. In the
Of
permafrost, no,
course.
for real though. Like, yeah, but they have. And was it? Where was this? I kind of want to say it was on that. Might be in Antarctica also. I think it is because I was like, why the fuck do all the elites go there and all that shit?
Yeah.
I think it is there. So they have that there, and they know that not even animals would be able to survive that specific virus that they keep scraping up for some fucking reason. Just leave the shit there.
Yeah, leave it in the fucking ice, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. So just something to think about.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. So do you have any more information on Highjump?
Yeah, so I can go into quickly about not quickly, but the whole tie into like maybe why they were going there to look for the Nazis and what they were cooking up over there. So supposedly, Adolf, obviously he wanted like he was into the occult because he wanted to like gain more power, and like he was like super into that, which that's cool, I guess. You an alien. He's a little alien head. And he had made a base over there called Base 211.
Mm-hmm.
And back in Germany, so there was like, I think this was in 45, there was some regular allies there. So it was German people saw these what they call them Foo Fighters. So like not like the band, but that's where they got the name from. Foo Fighters. That's what they called UFOs, and they were like glowing orbs, like red.
Okay.
And they maneuvered really fast. So the Germans saw that, and the U.S. the Japan people, also military, saw them also, but they thought they were like doing the Spider-Man meme. They're like, it's you, it's you, it's you, but like they don't know who it was, right? So they still haven't really said. They're debunking it as it's just the glare. Like literally, they're saying it's glare. It wasn't like any like UFO or craft or anything like that, but that it was glare. But I think that's bullshit. And so he always wanted to I guess they were always up in their game with their type of technology and like propulsion systems and stuff like that, but like how did they get that? So there is one scientist that I have his name here. Okay, so his name is, which I thought was cool, his name is Herman Oberth, and they called him like the father of the rocket system, and he was like one of the founding fathers of making rockets and stuff. And he said that in the interview, he said as the Nazis can't take credit for all of their advancements in science because they were helped. And then when asked who were they helped by, they said people from other worlds.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also, so the U.S. in 1950, after the whole high jump and everything else, they have found over there like a Bell type of UFO that the Germans were working on.
What do you mean? Like it was
Like
shaped
a
like
bell
a bell?
shaped, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, like a bell shaped,
The Glock.
and yeah, like a rocket or something, right? And
well, there's a name for it. I think it was the Glock.
Well, there's another one, but this one I don't know the shape of this one, but this one looks, the one I'm talking about, it's called a repulsi, and it looks like an actual saucer. So the U.S. tried to like back engineer that, and they couldn't never get it off the fucking ground because they couldn't figure it out. They didn't know. I don't know. They
That's
didn't know
because they didn't have
idea.
3 long fingers. You know what I mean? They couldn't put it into the.
They couldn't phone home. Yeah. So yeah. Also, there was a bell-shaped UFO crash. Coincidentally, I wonder how they got that.
Mm-hmm.
Blueprint in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania? No, I have not. Please tell me more.
So, okay, well, all I know is in 1965, and I don't know the exact city, but it is in PA, and it was a similar craft built by the Nazis at the end of the war, which was the bell-shaped crash. I just learned about that yesterday.
Well, I'm just learning about it right now.
The more we know.
And apparently, people that lived in the town, they had seen the military, the U.S. military, begin taking it out on a truck. So there was a lot of witnesses through a bunch of different documentaries that have.
Oh, okay.
Yep, exactly. Where they said that it wasn't the town cops, it was the military that came in to take whatever it was, and it was kind of half tarped, half not, so then they could see something. And of course it was a saucer type shape, which of course gave everybody the notion that this is something that doesn't look usual around these parts. And then there's actually been people since that have gone out there to investigate, and you can actually see some of the treetops that have the old burnt look, and there's like the way they were cut off because it hit the tops of some of the trees when it came in, and then there was a fire that started. So even though the path is kind of grown over now, you can tell from some of the trees there's like that dark wood burn, from something that had hit the tops. It's caught on fire. But yeah, that was one of the, and it's not really talked about a lot because of the fact that I think, being that it was a small town in Pennsylvania, then nobody really said much about it because everybody just, like we all know, especially if you're a small town, you're crazy. So,
yep.
But MUFON has gone out there quite a few times to take samples and see, they have a case on it pretty much.
I gotcha. So now when you say it like that, I do remember hearing about that. I actually heard a guy that was interviewed on another podcast like a few years ago that said he was there, or he was a kid or something like that at the time. And he was sitting in a truck with his dad or his uncle or something like that, and he watched it go by, and it was the military, and they were like, "What the fuck is the military doing here?"
Yeah.
So
covering up.
And that's what they do best. That's what governments do the best. They're the best at that. So they're not good at a lot of things, but they're the best at that.
Yep. Have you seen, I don't know if any of you watch Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates, but
I used
he
to love that show.
That's one of my favorite shows. I love Josh Gates. He's such a great presenter and researcher, but it doesn't have to do with that crash. But just while you were on the topic, Kevin, of the government cover up and how they're so good at it, they had gone to Roswell, and they had, now that we're coming into more software programs that can help take old evidence and try to make it clear, or, you know, something like that. Well, they took the picture where the one military guy, remember, is kneeling down holding a letter, but then holding a piece of the aluminum foil or whatever the ship was supposedly made from in Roswell. But Josh Gates had someone that specializes in like Hansing and photographs.
Yep.
They focused on that letter, and they went into it, zoomed in on it, cleared it up, and since of course it would be turned around, you know, in the photograph, but they had come up with, it said some things like saucer, the word beans. So I think it was a letter pretty much telling him to, hey, you're about to do this photo op regarding the saucer, that we got some beans that we took from there, but we want you to go out there and hold that aluminum foil, smile for the picture, and, you know, just go on this story that we're trying to, you know, make people believe. And if you ever watched Project Blue Book, that short series that was on TV just a year or two ago, where it was about Dr. Heinrich and the military, I think Marine or Army man that together had done investigations back in the 60s or late 50s, 60s. You know, everywhere they went, it was almost like military was sent in to kind of smooth stories over and like start the chatter in the ear to make small town people seem, you know, be discredited. So, you know, it just all ties into that. But that Roswell one, like I said, if you look back on, I don't know what episode, of course, it is off the top of my head, but they do pull in that letter, and it does say some words that kind of go along with the fact that Roswell was more than just a balloon. I mean, we've gotten to see what an air balloon is recently with
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
That doesn't look anything like a weather balloon.
That's because it was
Oh
a
no, it's
satellite.
always a weather balloon with them. Like, yeah.
It was a satellite because there's no outer space. We live in a petri dish. So they can't break the atmosphere. So our satellites that are supposedly orbiting the Earth are being held up by balloons. So
We're
that
we're an
just
ant farm. That's what
yes,
we are.
basically. So that balloon just lost air and came down.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey,
that's why it was shot over water, so we couldn't see what it actually looked like.
What it
that's
looked like.
also why it went over the entire United States of America. We're supposed to be the strongest, you know, defensive country, and we let a balloon, just say that it was a spy balloon,
Yeah.
but we let a spy balloon go 3,000 miles. I mean,
I don't
we
even know
look pretty
why even
weak,
cover that up. Just say that.
right?
Well, that's why, because we look weak.
They said that they didn't shoot it down because they didn't want civilian casualties when it was like literally over the wilderness of Montana.
That is just, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a bullshit call because
They were scrambling, trying to figure it out,
you know, as many times as, you know, we're number one, we're the US. Number two, it's 2023. If we can't get local law enforcement to come in, you know, evacuate people from their homes in a certain area to let something come down to not let our national security be invaded, then that's pretty bad. So
Yes.
that I don't buy that, because you're like, I really think the Biden administration is making us look the weakest that we've ever been, because I mean, China, North Korea, Russia, you know, they have not wanted to blow us off the face of the earth now more than ever, because we're just an embarrassment to the world. I
doing
mean,
it to ourselves.
yeah, exactly. I mean, why they're just like, God, let's put these people out of their misery because their priorities are screwed up. Let's just get rid of them and take over the land, because these people just are the most greedy, selfish, I want, poor me human beings on this earth. That's what they think of us. I don't think that of us. A good majority of us are like that today, I will
And
have
that's
to
what's
say.
projected through our media for sure. Like it's
Exactly.
enhanced. It might not be, like the majority of us, but the fact that it is so like keyed in on through our media, I feel like it's more projected out there that it seems more like it's all of us.
And I do think that we're working with aliens. I do
Oh,
think
for
that's
sure.
something that needs to
Oh
be
yeah.
talked about more because Truman is the one that set it up. Our own president of the United States set it up. It was a deal
Yep.
because I think I had talked to when Vicky and myself and Courtney and Amanda were doing our paranormal project collaboration and talking about a little bit about UFOs and everything and government. It, that's how technology jumped. Same with the Nazis. Like, is your name Jen?
Oh yeah, Jenny.
Okay, Jenny.
Jenny.
Like Jenny was saying,
Hi.
that the cover-ups, this was done by our own government. Our own government put us up because you look at the rockets, how look at us how we were trying to go to space. We were blowing up every single rocket that went on the launch pad
Yeah.
until after Truman was in office, Roswell happened, and then all of a sudden in the next 10, 15 years, we get to go to space in 4 years after we had shot off rockets that blew up in 10 years, over and
The
over and
advancements.
over. Exactly. And then all of a sudden, oh, here's this new rocket that we got. And it went off without a hitch the first time because that's why there's so many people missing. Truman made a deal. You can take our people, do what you want with them. We'll help you. You guys help us with technology. That's exactly what the Nazis did. That they probably did that same thing. That's probably why Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Maybe there was something there of, hey, you do this and we'll do this for you. I don't know. Who knows? Because we weren't there. But
Germany lost the war. The Nazis did not.
Yeah, yeah, true, very true. God, that's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it. And poor Germany for what the people that weren't insane, had
Right.
to go through.
Right.
But look at that. I mean, have you watched Hitler documentaries and look at the millions of people that were like entranced? I mean, we don't have that for our own president.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen a rally for the president of the United States like that? Never. Exactly. So there was something there like a mind control.
Socialism gets to people, I feel like. I mean, you got people in this country pushing for socialism. Socialism leads to communism. I don't give a fuck how the fuck you put it.
Yeah.
You want socialism, you can go fuck into another country and try and implement your socialism bullshit because it's not gonna work here.
That's the reason why a lot of immigrants come to the U.S. because of exactly for that. They're trying to run away from the communism, democracy, well, whatever the rule, and because of how aggressive that lifestyle can be, that's the reason why so many come here to America because there's at least that freedom and liberty. And I think from the time Biden became president, my husband was watching all these videos that a bunch of Chinese, like born and raised in China, came to America within the last decade. They were so much like so bad trying to like explain to the younger generations today because they're the ones pushing it, right? Like, don't root for communism because it's not exactly the type of life you think it is in the movies that you see, but yeah, exactly what Kevin was saying. It's not really a good thing.
The socialist stuff that they're pushing in this country is insanity, though.
Yeah.
Like to mutilate a 13-year-old's body at a time when puberty makes everybody think that there's something that they're not. We all think that. We all think at 13, I wish I was prettier, or girls, I'm flat chested, I look like a boy. You know what I mean? But to go and jump and try to get all these people to jump on the bandwagon to cut girls' chest off when they're 13. My God, can you go back and think when you were 13 and all the different feelings you felt? 13, 14, 15, 16. That's a lot of years.
Yeah. Like
20,
I was straight
21.
up a tomboy when I was younger. No, I did not want to be a boy. You know, it's just
So was
that's how
I.
it is. So, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, well, maybe you were a boy. That's right. And then they're crazy, you
Right.
know?
You
You're
know
like,
how many
hey,
times I
you're a
played mud
boy.
pies? I made mud pies. I caught bugs. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't want to get ponytails in my hair. I just brushed my hair when I
Yeah.
was 8 years old and out the door I went.
I
You know what I mean?
yeah, I just I seen a video of this guy talking about how his parents put him on hormone blockers and stuff when he was young because he thought that he wanted to be a woman. And then later on he's I think he said he was like 25. He literally has like the same voice as Vicky, like the same tone, like that pitch. And he's like, this is what I sound like at a 25-year-old man,
Man. Oh.
and I sound like a woman.
But see, and the one thing that I don't like about that, I know that we're talking about something completely different, and we'll change
Right,
in a
right.
second. I'm sorry about that,
No,
but
that's fine.
it's I just don't like, pushing to where parents can't who like the feeling of parents aren't allowed to be parents anymore to their
Yeah,
children.
yeah. So
That's
It's gone,
scary.
yeah, it's
yeah,
gone downhill.
yeah. So that they I just watched this video. Listen, this woman, she is a teacher, first of all. She's reading this thing. She's like, so they just passed this bill saying that if a child says that they are, if they're a boy and they're saying that they think that they're a girl, or if they want to be called by other pronouns, or if they want to be called by a different name in school, we legally have to tell the parents now. She's like, isn't that a um crossing the boundary for privacy? And I'm like, that's their fucking
No.
Yeah.
parent,
That's their
dude. Like,
kid.
what the fuck? That's their
Exactly.
kid. They're responsible for this child. They're supposed to know that shit. What the fuck are you talking
But you
about?
know what's scary about that? The government is involved in all this. The government is
Exactly.
helping push
They don't
this.
stop it.
Right.
The
They don't stop it.
overreach.
Exactly. So when you talk about UFOs and if they're working together with our government, with our military, look how they're weaponizing the three-letter government place, CIA, FBI. I mean, come on. We're now parents that go to a school board meeting and say, I don't like you, Sherry, because we used to be friends and now you're wanting, to teach critical race theory in our schools. You're They're making us domestic terrorist parents.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, look at the UFO and the government. How can you not say that they're not working together when the Biden administration is the first administration that has ever used government to prosecute American citizens? How can, think about that?
Yeah.
They're using the FBI. There was when I was watching the what are they called, the hearings on YouTube that they hold with what's his name, Alejandro Mayorkas, the
Yeah.
Secretary of National Security or Homeland Security.
Homeland.
Yeah. But he's like, Senator Hawley put up a picture of this nice Catholic family, 6 kids, mother, father, and then a picture of bulletproof vest AK-47 standing outside their house. For what reason, I don't know. They thought that the guy was a domestic terrorist, and he's a Catholic father of 6. It's like so you can't say, well, no, I don't believe that the military would be holding UFOs from us. Really? You don't believe that. You think that they would just come out and tell us everything when they're using the FBI to put American citizens behind bars or treat them as domestic terrorists. They're using the FBI and the CIA and the DOJ. They're weaponize it to go after us people. So, I mean, there's no telling what the government is hiding from us. And I do think it's not just that I mean, they're actually working with a race. I don't know if it's a good race of aliens or a bad race of aliens, but it's a race of aliens because that Phil Schneider that lost his finger from the shootout in the military underground base, I think it was at Dulce underground base. When he was saving one of the I don't know, was it maybe like a researcher or something that was working along with the aliens underground? He pulled one of them in the elevator and was shooting, and a laser ripped his finger off, and then he was dead after he came out in 90 something when they all had the hearing. The government did that. The government only wants us to know what they want us to know when they want to know it. They're creating division in this country like I've never, ever seen before. And yes, they came out and said they spent $22 million on. Well, they didn't show us. What did you spend 4 years and $22 million on? Let me see it. They haven't showed us. We're all writing stories about the government coming out, but yet we haven't seen, what did you spend the $22 million on?
Yeah.
You say it's to investigate the UFOs. Well, tell me what you found. I haven't heard that.
It's funny that you bring that up because like the government right now is all about this whole thing with the transgender community, what Kevin was saying earlier, this whole thing about race, critical race theory, my bad. And what's the color of Trump's underwear? For some reason, like I don't want to make a joke out of that, but like for some reason, like Trump happens to be that whole public enemy number one. You know, the guy is not even in office anymore. For all we know, the guy's like fucking playing golf somewhere in his backyard, and we need to know everything about him. But I live here pretty much on the border. We have all these like illegals and immigrants coming, legally and not legally to the border, and Kamala Harris is supposed to be on top of that, or what they say that job. she's in charge. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's supposed to be her job, and she doesn't even know, or she doesn't want any part of it. We're supposed to have like this government agency that's supposed to be protecting the American public, and somehow they're like Trump. Oh, and transgender kids, be who you want to be. Don't listen to your parents because they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. We're gonna allow it, and if you have our permission, then fuck what your parents say. I'm sorry, I didn't want to go all saying all these bad words, but like
that's fine.
It's kind of stupid. And then I wanted to go back on what you were saying a moment ago, Farah, about like there was a jump start of all these technological advancements. The picture I had put up on my Instagram about Roswell, David from Down the Rabbit Hole, he messaged me separately and he was like, hey, I think Roswell is pretty interesting because how is it before 1947 we were kind of having like a slow pace of like technology, and then all of a sudden after Roswell we advanced so far into the future sometime in the middle of the 20th century. And I was like, what, I didn't even think of that.
That's why I gave the year timelines from end of world I can never do that. I can never World War II, I swear. And then the nuclear test, high jump, Roswell, everything up, boom, it just like it's like literally it took like 2 years after that. It was just projected after that.
Jenny, did you come across anything in your research about that where you said that it was a scientist named Hamlin or something like that, that he was the one that was like the rocket guy? Yeah. How does Wernher Von Braun then factor in all that? Because he was the one that we brought over here that got our rocket off the ground.
We brought over 1,600 scientists, and
he was just one of them. He was one of them.
Just one of them, and he he just
well, whatever happened
he's
to
the most
guy
popular. So what the scientist that Jenny's talking about?
Yeah.
What
Whatever happened to him, Jenny? Do you know?
Oh, I no idea. Didn't follow up on him.
No.
But
Okay.
now that you were keep talking, because there was an exact number that they said came over here. Let me see.
Of scientists?
Of scientists.
Yeah,
What was it?
1600.
1600?
Yeah.
And
so
that makes
it-
me
That's a
wonder if
lot.
That's
they
unaccounted for. Oh no, but there's more that they were just
So-
not unaccounted for. Is what I'm talking about.
right. Well, and then Russia took almost the same exact amount to Russia. But the Nazi scientists wanted to surrender to UK and mainly American forces, because why? Because we're fucking free and Russia's communism, and they know that if they go to fucking Russia, they're gonna be treated like shit.
Yeah, they got
Isn't
a
that
deal here.
awfully weird though that we would bring now granted, I know that there's a difference between Nazis and Germans. I
Yes,
understand that.
yes.
But still, at that time when it wasn't really apparent that there were two because everybody was so upset about the Holocaust,
Yep.
don't you find that weird?
Yeah.
That us and Russia ganged up together to go fight and stop Hitler, but we bring Germans over to help us. It just seems like something that and it wasn't very televised or publicized when they did it. It only trickled out into history
It was
in
a
the next
conspiracy theory at first.
They
right.
wanted their all their
So
inventions,
then
all their stuff.
so then that kind of
they-
almost show that those Nazis did work for well, I shouldn't say that. That the Germans might have worked for Hitler because they heard that he was coming up with all this weird technology, but like I said, back then it wasn't Nazi in Germany. It was just, oh, Germany's bad. Look what they did because all those people why didn't they stop the Holocaust then, the burning of the Jews if they knew it? You know what I'm trying to get at? So then
yeah.
isn't that weird that they both, us and Russia, bring Germany over to help push our science? I don't know. It just
Yes.
seems like it was planned.
So it kind of was in a way. So because you have the space race, right? Where us and Russia were trying to get into space. Well, so that program was originally called Overcast, Operation Overcast, where it was from 45, so right after the war, and it went all the way up into 59, where we were bringing these scientists over, and they ended up changing the name to Paperclip for Operation Paperclip for whatever fucking reason. But let's see, what the fuck? How did I write this? So, yeah, so they all come over here, and Wernher Von Braun, because if you're speaking in German, W is a V. So he was actually a rocketeer, and then his brother Magnus was actually a chemical biologist or chemical engineer
What a
and a
name,
rocketeer.
Magnus.
I know, right? Isn't that? And he's a couple years younger than Werner. But the thing is, so they were being told by the Nazis to go to different places to try and avoid being captured. And then the regime was like, if you guys are about, if they're, but they were being told by higher ups that if the scientists were about to be captured, to kill them. So to kill the scientists. And then Werner talked them into allowing them to hide in separate places of a city. And Magnus actually rode up on his bicycle to American troops and was like, and it's the best American English accent that he could fucking put on, and was like, "Hey, we want to surrender to you."
Oh my God. I didn't hear that before. I didn't even know Wernher Von
Just
Braun had a
picturing
brother.
it makes me laugh in my head. Like,
Mhm.
He had
Ting, ting. I
two
picture with a
brothers.
little bell.
Exactly.
Ting, ting.
So actually Magnus was actually kind of like I guess you would say like the bad boy of the two. He was caught stealing platinum, and once he came over to America and trying to sell it to like jewelers and stuff, like he was taking it from the government.
Mhm.
And the only thing that happened was they put him in a room and let Werner beat the shit out of him. He didn't get arrested or anything. They just let his brother beat the shit out of him.
Oh my god.
Wow, that's crazy.
So
what a punishment.
I know. So
well,
Vern,
while
when,
we're on, I'm sorry, while we're on this subject, Kevin, do you
Yeah.
believe that Hitler survived, or
Yes,
was
yes.
he or was he dead?
There's pictures of a man in Argentina after the war that looks
Yes.
exactly
I
like
saw
Hitler.
that. I
Yeah.
saw that.
Like a spitting image. Unless he had they also say that he had body doubles.
Doubles. And
So
like
either he had a body double that they found in that bunk. Jesus Christ, with this fucking the rim of this hat. So either his body double was in that bunker or his body double survived and was the one in Argentina. You know what I mean?
Okay, sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I was right on that. You were talking about Hitler and Nazis and all that stuff, so I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. So when Wernher was a rocketeer through and through. Like he was researching and testing rockets and all that stuff. And then when the war was about to happen, they actually by decree outlawed any rocket testing unless it was for the military. So Von Braun joined the military. He joined the Nazi regime to continue his work because that's what he enjoyed doing. So what is said, a lot has come out to be actually true, as he was using slave labor, so Jewish people, to help him put this shit together. And he either witnessed or actually implemented torture to these people to get them to do what he wanted them to do. That part isn't like confirmed that he was actually involved with their torture, but they got fucked up if they didn't do what they were supposed to be doing. And we know that from the camps and stuff like that. And we know, so like out of all these scientists that they have that we brought over through Paperclip, Operation Paperclip, these guys are engineers. They were brought over here. They're put in engineer positions, technician positions, fucking pharmacy positions, you name it. Out of anything that you can test and do, these guys are at the forefront and pushing shit through for us, essentially. So but while they're over there, before the war ended, these are the guys that were making these war machines. These were the guys that were creating these gas chambers to kill these people. These were the guys that were creating the weaponry and the torture devices. Wernher actually created the rocket that they fired it at UK, and UK soldiers and killed a bunch of UK soldiers, and he's the one that created that rocket bomb. So when they brought them over here, they only ended up trying one scientist for war crimes, and I can't remember his name. And I wish I would have wrote it down because I thought I was going to remember it, but
I was just going to ask you that too. Is that how many were tried for war crimes? Because in my recollection wasn't for as many Jews as were killed. And there was 45,000 concentration camps.
Yes.
I never even knew that. I just learned that 2 weeks ago, that there were 45,000 death and concentration camps, two different separate types. But I could have swore I didn't hear many be tried and convicted for war crimes. And I'm like, for 45,000 concentration camps and 6 million Jews dead.
Yeah.
Where's the thousands that goes down in history when you talk about the Holocaust?
Yeah.
People being convicted and hung for what they did. So it always makes me think, the scientists that came over, how many of these guys worked closely with the SS and Hitler, and that we just didn't look at that? I mean, look what happened. Like, are you not getting the gravity of what happened?
Wernher Von Braun was directly under SS.
See,
soldiers.
and we're sitting there patting him on the back, and he's taking pictures with Walt Disney.
Yeah.
They were gassing children.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's hard for me the fact, but then you have the Biden administration that wants to put parents away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you see how the government works? I
And kill
just
your
don't like
children.
that. Right.
So, but yeah, it was wild to me because a lot of they say that the scientists, they were just doing their job. Like they were just doing their job. But we bring all these people over here, who have you don't know what they did to, continue to live. So we brought these 1,600 people over from Germany that worked with the Nazis and their families, and they live this comfortable high life in America.
They gave them
Um,
medals,
and they get medals. Wernher Von
awarded
Braun went.
medals. Yeah.
Actually, Magnus lived between UK and America, so he was back and forth between UK and America, and he was just like, did whatever. He actually worked for. He was one of the chief engineers for Chrysler. Um, but from what I know of Magnus, he didn't participate in like the torture and stuff. But from what I've heard and what I've read, it seems that Wernher may have had more of a direct line to like torture and um, to oversee his dreams come true.
Right.
So he ends up being the head of NASA when he comes over here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so he's the father of the moon missions. And what's weird to me is that all the planets out there and all of these moon missions are named after like Greek gods. I think that's the weirdest part of this, like, because Saturn, Jupiter, they're
Weird.
Greek gods, and Apollo, that's a Greek god. um so then we get to the moon landing. I think the moon landing was fake. um they So there's the video of Neil Armstrong getting off. The first of all, the ship looks like nothing but fucking like a bunch of tinfoil wrapped around this fucking a ball, basically.
For the first time going in space, and that's what you travel in?
Yeah.
That's
And
crappy.
if you speed up the video of him walking on the moon, like, it looks like he's no gravity. If you speed it up, it just looks like he's taking long strides. You know what I mean? So like he's just walking
Yeah.
fast. So it's like slow motion. That
Walk like
is
this.
what it said. But the weird thing is that shadows don't match up. So the only light that's out there is coming from the fucking sun. So the sun's hitting everything, but yet you have shadows that are smaller than others that are right next to each other. The flag is constantly lit up. Words on the ship are always lit up, no matter whether they're in like a darkness.
So where's all that light coming from?
Yeah. So where is that light? And then you can't see any stars. And supposedly they have like a debunk thing. So I didn't read that, but supposedly you can't see the stars if you're on the moon. It doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, so it's like little things like that. So, and then if you look at the flag, so they got the flag up and they're like, oh, and everybody's like, it's flapping in the wind. And they're like, oh, no, it's not flapping. So like, if you look at it, you got the pole here, and then there's literally a pole wrapped in the top of the flag to put it out. And then
I never noticed that.
The rest of it's like crinkled. So if
I
you
never
like
noticed
look
that. I'll
at the
have to look
picture
that
really
up.
Say that
closely, you
again?
can.
I'm
If you look,
actually
huh?
I pulled it up right now because I just remembered something about the moon landing. But go ahead.
Okay, so they got this like another little like stick in the top of the flag to put it out, because they say that there's no wind, which and then they basically make it look like it's flapping in the wind.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's highly suspicious to me.
I see that now. I'm looking right at it. I see what you mean. The top is like almost perfect. It's like not crinkled.
Yeah. And then the weird thing is that Neil Armstrong, like, whenever they interview him about it, he's very quiet and looks like he's nervous and stuff like that. He actually drinks himself to death. So he died early. Buzz Aldrin literally punches people or tries to punch people for asking him what it felt like to walk on the moon. Like literally, he's like, "What did it feel like to walk on the moon?" And then he starts crying and leaves. And then he gets questioned another time. He's like, "Was the moon landing fake?" And he just like punches the guy.
Like, yeah, he's
or
so
did you
aggressive,
actually
like
land on
mad.
the moon? And he punches the guy. Like neither one of these guys have like solid answers for anything.
Actually, if you watch the tape where they're after they got picked up in the ocean,
Yeah.
and they get off their first little plane coming back to the tarmac where they get pictures and everything,
Yeah.
they both get out of the plane and their heads are down. Like, and they'll look up once and like, but it's for people that supposedly went to the moon for the first time and walked
Instead
on
of
it.
being like, yeah,
You would think they would be like,
pristine.
waving and oh my, you
Yes.
know what I mean? But they looked just,
Ashamed.
they looked, their heads were down when they first ducked their head and they come out of their little bus or something that they're on. And you see it on their face that they're troubled. It's like
Yeah.
they're troubled because they're, oh my God, we've been sucked in to this conspiracy now. And
Yeah.
they're the ones that got to live with it for the rest of their life.
Yeah. And that it said there's a theory out there that Neil Armstrong didn't know that it was going to be fake until literally right before they did it.
I
Supposedly.
believe that.
But there's
yeah.
a lot of videos of them being on the supposed space the fuck's it called? The fucking thing up there that they're hanging out in. Right
Oh,
now. What is it called?
the ISS, International Space
Station. Yeah, station.
Daily station.
There we go. So there's videos that they're supposedly up there. They got like right on their hips, their fucking pants are like this, like looking like they're being held up by strings. Like they got
Oh, like
something around there.
Yes.
And they're
There's a
sitting
crazy
there,
footage
and
out there.
then they're like, "Oh, look at us!" And they're spinning, but they go like this, so they don't hit the fucking string that's holding them up. And then
I
they're
did.
writing.
Oh,
and
look
they
it up.
drop
It's
the
crazy.
pen,
heard
and the
about
pen
that.
drops to the floor, but they're floating.
Yes.
And I'm like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yo, there's a lot of
I didn't
crazy,
know that.
crazy
I
stuff.
didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a lot of those videos.
Because they're supposedly like updating and like showing you, hey, what's going on there? But they're they're like drinking water, and then like, yeah, the pen drop was super. I'm like, she was like just like that, and they're like, oh, pick it up again. I'm like, really? They're not even thinking
crazy.
about like.
And then they go
how it
upside
looks.
down, and their hair goes up too once they're upside down. So
Oh
if
my
there's no
God.
if there's no gravity, or if this is an anti-gravity spot that they're in, their hair wouldn't move when they spin upside down. So it fucking drives me crazy. I'm like, this shit is fucking obvious. Like, are you
The one with
retarded?
the pants, because it does look like it's not fishing wire, obviously, but it does look like something's like some type of bungee-ish system where you can see it.
Yep.
It's very obvious.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
But so that goes into like the flat earth theory. So with Admiral Byrd going to Antarctica, he said that it's an ice wall. There's an interview where he's talking about how the our planet's going to get smaller. It's like the ice is going to close in, and it's going to be more condensed. And he also said that there's more land beyond it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
So like I said the last time on the last Conspiracy Tuesday that we did, Jen, I'm not married to the flat earth theory, but I do find it extremely interesting. So I do a lot of like looking into it. So, they say the firmament is like a dome. So it's like there's a dome over us. On Wernher Von Braun's tombstone, it just says Psalm 19:1. And Psalm 19:1, that verse is, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why is that in Psalms?
Yes.
Exactly.
So basically what I'm getting at is that they have been trying so hard to get us away from God, because the earth is hell. When we die, we're not going to hell. We've already lived through it, because this is where we are right now. This is what it is. And people out there are selling their souls to have a better experience. Bob Dylan actually even has an interview where he talks about selling his soul.
Yeah.
So that he could be polarized. So I think, so we get into like the trans stuff, the Biden administration right now, the things that they are taking out of school. Like, so in fourth grade, I wrote on a test sheet of paper, you got to put your name on the top. I wrote big baby Jesus in fourth grade, and I got in trouble for it because it was Jesus. It said Jesus.
What?
I got in trouble for writing Jesus on a fucking piece of paper.
Shame
But
on you.
that's what we're lacking today. We are lacking family and religion and respect in our households. Our kids aren't raised anymore. Our parents don't give a shit. Here's a cell phone. Have fun. It's, we've lost it. No more 6 o'clock dinners. No more. No, you get your ass down here at 6 p.m. and sit down and ask your dad how his fucking long, hard day was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's when 20, 30 years when internet and cell phones came out.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
That ruined our country. It ruined it, because now we have either skinny, scrawny, acne-faced kids that all they aspire to be is gamers, or we have obese young children that haven't seen a playground in 5 years.
That's fat phobic.
I don't care what the fuck it is. How about that? You know
Get
what I
outside
mean?
and play in the playground, bro. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I'm just one of those people that I'm just not gonna buy into and then the other one I was going to say is the poor me attitude.
Yeah.
Like with the transgender person that shot 3 9-year-olds, 3 weeks here in my Nashville, Tennessee area.
Yeah, that's what
and
I wanted to say something about that real quick too, since you bring it up, because I was going to bring it up at some point. I did bring it up a little bit in the beginning before you got back on, but so people out there, you got the left people, all these transgender people, they're like, oh, look at the conservatives cry about a beer. It's not about the beer, and it's not about the person. It's literally, we just had a transgender person who has mental issues shoot up a school. The day after, our president barely acknowledges it and then says trans people need to be protected. Has really literally nothing to say for the victims of this shooting. And then in the same week, we have a trans person being put forth on what I think wasn't it like National Women's Day or something like that? And he was put on the beer. That's the problem that people have with it. Like, I have a problem with the fact that it happened the way it happened. Like, I don't care that he's on, or she, whatever the fuck you want to call it, on a beer. Like, I don't care that they're being used for this beer. I mean, good for him, probably making a shit ton of money through these people. But like, it's the way it went. You know what I mean? It was the timeline of it all.
No one cared about the 3 9-year-olds and the 2
Exactly.
teachers that were totally taken aback, that didn't even know this was going to be their last day on earth. You know what I mean? And the last time these kids would play, it's poor the transgender, poor. She said, I needed to be seen. Well, here's what I
She
have
was
to say
fucking
about
28 years old.
Exactly. That's one. But here's where I get with this whole transgender thing is you're mentally fucked up. period. If you look in the mirror and you don't know who you are, that's a mental condition. Okay? Period. There's no poor me and
Yeah, it's
what
not
you
everybody
did for
else.
it's
You have
exactly.
more of these
But
Mexican values in you, Kefera.
exa- right, but like why exploit yourself? There's the other part of it. You say you don't want people to look at you and pay attention to you, but you're exploiting your own damn self. I don't need to know who you sleep with. I don't need to know what drives you crazy or what drives you mad or what drives you happy. I don't need to know you. So yeah, I have a problem with the Bud Light thing.
So
I
do
do
I. So do I.
because where was Rosa Parks on that can of beer? Where
My
was
my
Malcolm
thing
X
is
on that can of beer?
okay, but like was doing this whole thing like, oh well, we need to do this whole thing like help represent women, right? I mean, I think that was their whole advertisement. They get this one person who looks like a woman, dresses like a woman, who puts on a makeup like a woman, but we know deep down he's not a woman. So technically, in some way, Bud Light still got a guy
And
dressed
You're
he's not
mocking me.
he's
like a
not
woman, and that's the
transitioning. He's
reason why
just
a lot of us girls were really pissed about that, because
yeah.
it's like Bud Light's all about like, oh yes, share a beer with whomever, wherever, right?
Yeah.
And they
Mhm.
still get this one dude pretending to be a woman saying like,
Couldn't
oh
even
yes, I'm
get
helping represent
couldn't get a
women,
woman.
and there's no way that
Yeah.
that guy is representing women in any way. Like, just because you wear a dress does not make you look
Exactly.
cute at all.
Exactly.
And he projects himself as a 13-year-old girl. And
Yeah.
the
Yes, he
way that
does.
he
He's
protect
so weird. He's
yeah,
so
the
weird.
way that he
Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
He
Jenny,
keeps
you
talking
should
about
with the
see.
girlhood. He doesn't talk about
pigtails.
womanhood. He talks
Yeah.
about girlhood.
And
Yes.
he's
Oh.
and you should see his weight, Jenny. He's like this big.
No, I've
So he's
seen
thin.
him, but I don't know.
He's
Like
thin.
Doesn't
he
eat.
Yeah.
thinks
But
that.
it's
That's
The
fucking
way
but
the
weird,
it's
way
man.
that
like
he acts makes women look bad.
you're
to me.
mocking us. That's what I don't like about
And
drag queen
yes,
story
and does he
time.
really
Thank
think
you.
that of us? Like,
I don't
no.
like drag queen story time where you're sitting there with a purple head and makeup that goes like this, like that looks like Kiss
I talked to
My
instead of a
problem with the
woman
drag
because
queens
women
right
don't
now
dress
is
like
that
that.
they're so half naked in front of all these kids,
It
and
was
they're
that.
trying.
there's
Oh my
actually a
God,
video
bro.
of a 14-year-old girl getting a lap dance by a drag queen at
And she started crying
at a school event, and she was sitting there like this,
and
like
she was
that's
crying.
yeah,
And
and
the drag queen got down on her knee and was like, "Oh, are you okay?" Like you
yeah,
could see
yeah,
the way they were interacting. She was embarrassed.
yes,
Yeah.
That needs to stop. But here's what I don't like about all of this is that you're bringing us into your life. I don't give a shit who you are, what purple fairy turtle that you want to be next week. You have a mental problem because
Yes.
anybody that looks in the mirror and goes, I don't know what I feel like I am today, then you need to go talk to someone, but I don't need to be included in your life. But here's the other thing about it. Why do you want fake support? Because that's what you're getting. You think
Yes.
everybody on Instagram and TikTok and all these businesses, you think that 100% they're for your drag queen look and that you're a man with a dong, but you're saying that you want to be a woman. You think they're all, honey,
they just don't want to get in trouble.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Businesses would lose money in a fucking heartbeat if they don't have a sign that says welcome LGBTQAZ
If you're
2135.
Plus.
if you're LGBTQI, you can come on in.
That's what I don't like is that they go, oh, so you would rather have fake support than just live your life.
The
Because
problem
what
with
it
the
is,
social medias today is the fact that, okay, 30, 40 years ago, no one didn't really had like the cell phones, the computers, the social apps for people to voice themselves. That's the problem we have today. Since everyone is so connected to our cell phones, to their tablets and laptops, whatever,
That's
as
what I was gonna say.
long
Yeah.
the internet gives them that freedom to go ahead and voice their crazy ass psychotic ideas out there, then yes, that's the reason why our society has plummeted further downhill, because we have all these kids who haven't even graduated high school. They don't even have they're not academic scholars, and yet they're changing the whole Wikipedia, they're changing the dictionary, they're changing everything on us. And somehow they're the ones that get to establish it, and we have to be able to finalize what they say, because if you say something against them, they're going to publicly do it all over again on the cell phone, and you're the one that gets in trouble for it.
But don't you all agree, though, that going to a 5-year-old, and that's what I don't like about teachers that I see on TikTok and Instagram. They're like,
my issue is children, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. They're the purple hair, blue streak dykes teachers that are going, today they actually called me they, like I wanted to. And it's like you need to have the acceptance
they need
of a
that
5-year-old.
You
need a 5-year-old.
You need affirmation from a 5-year-old.
Right.
What the
Now,
fuck?
and then remember,
I think that comes about from the social media, like,
right.
Oh, like me, this and that. Like, so they, in our generation, at least me, I'm 42 years old. That wasn't like that back then. I didn't.
Shut up. You're not 42.
I am.
You look good.
Look damn good, girl.
God,
thank you,
damn,
thank you.
You do.
For real? Oh, okay, thanks. So back then, I didn't grow up with like, oh,
I thought you looked like you were 26.
Same.
Oh,
Same.
Yes.
For real?
Yes.
No way.
You look good.
Yep.
Oh,
yes, go ahead, Jenny. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to tell you that.
No, thank you. So yeah, so back then, we didn't grow up with like, I had to be accepted like that. I think that turned into even more. If you already had like kind of like a mental issue or a mental problem in that way, maybe depression or something like that, that just ramped it up even more with social media and, oh, you have to accept me and I'm gonna kill. Like how many times you see like I'm gonna like suicide myself, and not to say it.
There's a lot.
Can I add something to that? Okay, I want to go back to exactly what Farrah was saying about these teachers. So my husband and I were watching this little clip this morning about this chick. Well, she's a girl, right? But she dresses up. She calls herself a non-binary person. And she's this teacher for a daycare community, and I don't know what state in the US. And she has everything like a man, except her voice is very much a girl. And she's trying to teach so hard to the kids about like, oh, there's no such thing as boys or girls. I have like this one toy, and it was this black doll. And she's like, this is not a boy, boys and girls. This is a they. Do not call him him. Do not call him he. He's a them. He's a they. And like she was trying so hard to tell that, like force it on the kids to be like, call this thing a they, of them. And so the kids are kind of like, they're 5 years old. They're so oblivious to what she's trying to do. And so they still call this doll a he. My problem with the entirety of that video was, of course, what she was like trying to do with the kids. But I was looking at her. I was like, okay, so you have this thing right there, that adult who sounds like a girl. She has features of a girl, but dresses up so much as a boy, but she calls herself non-binary. So what exactly is she? Because non-binary people are trying to say that there's no such thing as sex and they're not a boy or a girl. They're just this thing in the middle or outside of it. But she dresses so much like a boy, acts so much like a boy. So are you sure you're non-binary? Are you sure you're not a dude? Like that was my problem with that video. And that I was kind of like, okay, so you have this dude trying to teach a little 4 or 5-year-olds. That's kind of
but they shouldn't even bring that into a 4 or 5-year-old
at all. Why they allow
that's what's going to screw with the kids when they're 11 years old and go, I think I need puberty blockers, because they're going to have from then their 5-year-old. Exactly, Jenny. They're going to have school age from 5 to 13 going, well, geez, every year I go to school, my new teachers ask me, so have you thought about, do you want to be a boy or a girl? That doesn't need to happen. That doesn't need to happen.
I personally know, okay, so I know a family whose older child had something like that. They're in middle school right now. So Kevin, you being, and this is a boy, so you being a boy, did you have best friends?
Yes.
Were you ever confused and thinking, I like my best friend? Maybe it's not my best friend. Maybe I have feelings for that guy or something like that. Like, did you ever go there?
No.
Okay, so this is what they're confusing them to the point where like that kid told the mom, um, well, maybe it's not because it's my best friend. Maybe it's because maybe I like them. I just don't know. Like they literally said, I don't know. And the mom was like, but you always like girls. Like you literally just you have crazy girlfriends and stuff like that. She's like, yeah, well, they said like in school that maybe that's not the feeling. He said that in school that they were telling him and like maybe other peers or whatever
No.
that they were feeling like that or that's not your best friend because you're always hanging out with them. So maybe you like the guy and then
Oh my
they're so
God.
brainwashed already. It's
Messed
like, yeah,
up.
maybe I do like that guy. And when I heard that, I was just like, that shit pissed me
No
off so much
way. Are
because
they
it's been
doing that
happening.
too? So they're making you think like you might be like gay or
Gay.
like the same.
Yes, they're just
That's the
completely messing
problem
up
with
with the
a lot of
children's
educators
brains.
right now. Like they're inputting a lot of their personal values on students rather than
Yes.
actually
Teaching.
Yes,
teaching the
Vicky.
kids
Teaching.
the fundamentals and the academics that they actually need to be
You
learning.
need to learn
A
math.
lot of these educators are like, no, well, I feel like this about my worldview. I should be able to impart these same ideas onto
No.
these young kids.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's not
oh,
part of a curriculum.
That's a
exactly.
problem.
Exactly.
Yes, it's a huge problem.
You know what was
and
funny
then they
yesterday?
wonder why all these parents are homeschooling
They're
their
so
kids
pissed.
And going to
Yeah.
and pissed off. Yeah.
Exactly, Kevin.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I read yesterday? Does anybody watch the show Yellow Jackets on Showtime?
I watched the first
I
season.
only watched the first.
Okay, well, you know the redhead girl that was in it. The redhead, well, I'll just say one of the actresses in that show.
Yeah.
So Emmys are coming up, and she qualified for a daytime Emmy, but she bowed out. You know why? And there's an end part, but the reason why is because she's non-binary. So she didn't know what category to select. Actress, but then she couldn't be lumped in with the boys either because that wouldn't make sense. So you know what my husband and I agreed on? And this should go for everything. There should be a victim category. And everything we talk about, because that's all that I'm personally getting from this transgenderism and mutilating kids and all that, is that apparently you don't like your decision 100%. Because why do you need all this fake support? Why do you need people getting into your business? Because you aren't happy 100% with your decision. Just like this girl. Really? You had to come out and make a statement that you're going to go ahead and bow out of the Emmys. Why? We should feel sorry for you. What else was the reason for you to come out? What category do you want them to put? Non-binary? You know what we learned about non-binary? A year ago, Demi Lovato came out and said she changed her pronouns from he, she to they, them. Guess what she did 3 months ago? Changed they, them back to she, her.
Yeah.
So see, it's a
she got
phase.
cleaned up.
No, but
too.
she
She went back to how she was normal. Like she doesn't have that stupid haircut. She
right. But
you
here's
know,
the thing:
She
she
went
Demi
overdosed.
Lovato is so irrelevant from like so many
She
things. She's so out of
overdosed.
the loop
Yes.
of like so much with Hollywood, but she's trying so hard to be like
The-
in the it group.
Right.
But you don't
Yeah.
change your pronouns to be in the it group. She overdosed, so for her to stay relevant, she jumped into the new trend. That's what I don't like. People are sitting there putting on their Instagram, their Facebooks, for transgender, for kids getting mutilated. You're only doing it so you can fit into something, because if you and I sat down, you couldn't tell me why you're for all this stuff. Just like the whole abortion thing and Roe versus Wade and
Because
all
social
this.
media told you to be.
Exactly.
All of that shit.
Exactly.
It's
You got,
look,
you
my
gotta
friend
read.
got.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was
Sorry.
just gonna say my friend got more followers than I do. What trend is she following? Oh, she's following Black Lives Matter. Okay, I'm gonna put all my hashtags BLM. Your people are jumping on these bandwagons and they don't even believe in them 100%. They
Yeah.
do it because they're scared that if they get pulled on a street by a social media with a microphone and
Yep.
they say, "What do you think about? Do you think there's white supremacists?" and they're going to go, yes, I do. And you can look on my social media because I put everything BLN and white supremacy.
I got my virtue signals all up there on my social media.
And it's the mom wine group, the moms that don't work, but they have their little ritzy friends that they see at noon every day.
Yeah,
and they're like, guess what I did yesterday? I took Timmy to his first drag show. Aren't I so woke now? That's exactly what it is. That's what it is. But
actually, yes, it's true that you bring that up because there is a lot of women out there. They're around my age, like in their 30s, and like their only thing, their focus is just so hard to be popular on the social medias that yes, they are willing to put their kids through this sort of endearment.
That's what I mean.
Just so that they can get a like. From who? From fucking strangers that you don't even talk to? Like, that's fucked up.
Thank you. There's people that actually agree with me. Thank you. Thank you. I thought I was alone in that. Like, I thought I was the only one that thought
like,
that.
You should see it down here in the Mexican community. That like we're all about like family, like values, and like keeping connections and whatnot. And then we see the difference on the white people. And I'm not trying to talk shit about you guys. I'm just saying like in a general thing.
You don't
like,
need to say that.
That like they're so in a way separated. Like they don't know how to do like, you know what? We need to have bonds in our lives because life is so short and you never know something is going to happen. And over here it's different. Like, okay, we accept if you're gay, we accept if you're lesbian, we accept if you're bisexual, sure,
but I don't need to love it.
Accept exactly if we do not accept if you start fucking up your own life to do something to someone else's life. That's not part of our traditional values, because believe it or not, a lot of us down here, we're conservative in our own ways because we do believe in traditional values. But somehow the Biden admin kind of wants to put like a weird name a weird stain to our name that we're because of the the drug dealers, that we're bad people. The same thing that we were just you guys were talking about earlier with the Nazis, like, oh, because of this whole thing with the Holocaust, they got a bad name. For us down here, because of the whole thing with the cartel, we have a bad name. So it's there's no win-win situation, honestly.
Well, to piggyback off of that is that so we have the an open border right now. You know what I mean? So so you do have, look, any group of people can have bad apples. It's not just because there's bad people in one group doesn't mean the whole group is bad. And that's like that, and that goes with the trans and the the LGBTQ people, the ABC mafia. There's bad people, there's bad apples in that fucking group.
It sounds like an Indian name.
You said it really good too. I was like,
not all of those. So what I'm trying to say is that not all of those people are bad. You know what I mean? It's the confused, the virtue signaling and shit like that. But with the open borders, we got the Democrats and stuff being like, leave it open. Because
they don't know what we're suffering through down here. They really
you guys are going through it for real.
And then they're like the more Mexicans that we get in, the more votes we're going to have. Like, we got the minority vote, we got the Hispanic vote. What they don't realize is that the majority of Mexico are conservative, Catholic, Christian people.
They really are. Like,
and you know what's funny? Good Mexican people are leaving Mexico for a reason. Why the fuck are you going to bring everyone from Mexico in? Because they don't want to be near the cartels and the MS-13 and the drug dealers and the human traffickers. That's why the good ones are coming over. But I'm sorry, if you want to come here, you come here through the fucking front door. That's it. You come here through the front door. That's all I got to say about that.
Then you got people, when you bring up that part of the argument, they're like, well, your ancestors didn't come in fucking legally either. They stole this land and blah, 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 blah. Look, I have ancestors on both sides of that. So with that being said, like, first of all, that was fucking forever ago now, and we are a new nation. We have become a strong and free nation.
We've also become, but also we're hovering murderous people more now than ever. So that's where, Kevin, like you said, we got to watch. That was decades ago, but we got people that now more murderers, more serial killers, more criminals than we ever have before.
Yeah,
we have to watch it.
There's more people that want to come here to do more harm than good at this point.
And it's funny that you bring that up, because a lot of the younger generations right now, they're so hell-bent on this whole thing with racism that they're like, but our ancestors and our ancestors, they went through hell and back just for you to have a good life. Don't worry and focus so much about the past. That's the reason why they bring that up, that they say that quote for a reason. Like, okay, fine, learn from it if you will, but stop worrying about someone else who already lived that life for you. You are living today, this life, for a reason, for a purpose, but do not bring up the past that has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
exactly. I don't have a slave in my basement. Learn from, just to let y'all know.
Learn from it and move on. You know what I mean?
But that's how they act like, oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, but did you see that one YouTube video where that old black man sat with a young black girl and a young black guy, and he was like, what do you think that you deserve? And she's like, well, I think that they want reparations. And she was like 18 years old. And it was the young guy,
San Francisco is doing that, or San Diego is doing that.
Yeah, but but this black guy is actually there's no white supremacist, there's no slavery. It's like he's some kind of like professor or teacher or something. And it's just like, you see her, she's like, well, my life is hard. And he's like, well, how's it hard? Well, we live in a bad neighborhood. That's your mom. That's your mom. When you're 18, honey,
you can leave.
You can move
who
wherever
says
the
you
fuck
can't
you
go
want.
get a job? Who says you can't go fill out some student grant paperwork? Oh, but you like to hang out with LaShonda and her sister down the street that are dropouts. That's who your friends are. So do you want to be like them, or do you want to get out of the hoodlum and then go and make it yourself? Because you could make it. There's no white people holding you back, honey. But for you to get something, and you know what's funny? How do you know that your ancestors were slaves? Is it just because you're black? Oh, well, see, that would be racist to say that. Because just because you're black doesn't mean that your ancestors went through slavery. And just because I'm white doesn't mean my ancestors owned slaves.
Exactly.
Today, everybody is responsible for their own. Now, if your mom wanted to have 8 kids and drop out in 10th grade, that's her decision while you're in project neighborhoods with crime. Exactly. So you go look to her for your problems. Now, if you want to change your life instead of being griping and bitching about it, then here, you go to your school,
put in the work.
You go to your guidance counselor, you tell her, I want to go to school. She'll help you fill out that paperwork, and she'll help you do something with your life. Take advantage of the welfare for a little bit. Get an apartment for yourself. Get out of that neighborhood. But honey, no one's making you sell drugs, and no one's making you join a gang, boys. No one's forcing you to do that. You do that on your own. And when you say, well, I'm stuck, then the money that you use, guess what Jay-Z did before he became a famous rapper?
Before he sold his soul.
Yeah,
before he sold his soul
too. Exactly.
Stuck, mentally stuck.
All you got to do is do the fucking work.
Exactly.
Yes.
But enough. It's the same thing with the transgenders. Everyone's blaming someone.
They're the victims. Yep.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying there should be an Emmy category for, because why did that girl come out and say that? She didn't need to say that. She didn't need to publicize that. Hey, just letting everybody know I'm gonna drop out of the
There's
Emmys
no
because
non-binary option.
Right. And it's like, no, there's no victim category.
There was a professor, I saw a video. There was a professor that literally left his own job. I don't know what university it was. He kind of did this like experiment to ask, are there only two genders? If you agree that there are only two genders, please make a line in this direction. If you believe there's more than two genders, then go off in this direction. And what was going on with that guy? A lot of the students were bullying him, torturing him, telling him that he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about and that he should get the fuck out of the school. Okay, who was he to be talking about gender to students if he wasn't a professor there anymore and whatnot? So he was like, yeah, no problem with me. I'll go ahead and leave, but this is just for my own personal thing. I want to know, are there really more than two genders? Because if there is, then please like solidify your evidence with me that there is, because as far as I know, and as far as I've grown up, and as far as biology tells us, there are only two genders in the entire world. But
They dig
what
Kevin
happens,
up
like that guy was just being
40
tortured
years
by
from
all
now.
these young students that they still don't even have an associate's degree, and they're just like, fuck you, get the fuck out of the school. And you know, they're just, the poor guy, like he got kicked out because of that.
If you dig Kevin up 40 years from now when he's passed away, you're going to tell he was a man.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. It doesn't matter what fleshy parts you get enlarged, cut off, whatever, you're left
there's
with
an extra
bones.
bone for men.
Not get there.
Good one, Kevin. Good insight.
Skeleton.
Kevin, what was that bachelor's that you had? What was that?
Oh, you know,
because hey, you know those.
I had a bullshit degree, you know.
Well, I think all in all, I think what we're all talking about, being that this whole episode, I think, was more long supposed to go to UFOs and cover up in that way, it has all tied together because it's the shitty ass government.
Yes.
Always pushing to divide us, always doing things without our consent. Hey,
false flags everywhere.
Exactly. We know. You know, each Kevin, you, Vicky, you, Jenny, you, we could all be taken from our homes one day by an alien because somebody put us up on the chopping block. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and you know, it goes to show with all this division, the government is that powerful. They just got to put a little couple birdies out. Yeah. And look, we're all divided. The worst we've ever been. Worst we've ever been.
Literally. Yep. There's so many people out there like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Like there are so many conspiracies that are coming true just in this past couple of years.
We're a thinker.
Right. So what you got to do, this is what you got to do. You got to listen to everybody and then you discern for yourself what you think is the truth or is a lie. So my truth might be different from a lot of other people. Just like maybe not all of what the four of us, maybe not everything that we think we 100% would agree on. And that's
you wouldn't force it on us, though, Kevin.
Right.
You wouldn't force us. If you said to me, I want you to think about how I feel about UFOs, say you and I differed, even though I believe everything you believe anyway.
Like, so like, and like the flat earth, say, because like, well, personally, I don't really 100% think the earth is flat, but I think that it's a possibility and that there's a lot of evidence for it. But say I 100% believe flat earth and I just tell you why, and then you're like, I don't fucking believe it. I'll be like, okay.
I think I saw an argument one time online.
But in today's world now, the way things are going, it's if you were one of those insane people, Kevin, you'd go, Farah, no. Yeah. You're going to say this on my podcast or you're not going to be, you're canceled.
Yeah.
That's how it would be.
That's how a lot of people are right now, you know.
And that's not right.
And what's her name? Riley
the swimmer?
Gaines, yeah. Is it Gaines? Riley Gaines?
It sounds familiar.
But she's a swimmer.
She's the swimmer
with
that's going
Leah
around.
Thomas.
Oh, that
Yep.
guy.
She literally had was held hostage at a place that she was speaking, and then she was punched in the face. Actually, she was ambushed. So she's on stage about to give her speech, or she's in the middle of the speech, and all the lights fucking go off, and she can't see anything. And then all of a sudden, people rush the fucking stage, and it's a mob of people, and these cops are trying to keep her safe, bringing her down this hall. And they get her to this room. She was like, "Listen, I was fucking looking at these guys, and they were fucking scared. They didn't know what to do because if they put their hands on one of these people, they could have a fucking lawsuit because the LGBTQI community is so fucking protected right now. Like you
But
fucking
see, that's what
you
I
look
don't
at them
understand.
sideways.
Who turned off the lights? Like, I sue the shit out of them.
The people, like the
mob.
ABC mafia.
Wow.
You know?
But I don't understand how they're pushing. This is what I don't get. I don't get if they're allowed to speak their truth and think
Why can't
what
we?
they
Exactly.
exactly. It's not.
Mhm.
I don't get that. See, that's what I mean by they're mentally not well,
Yeah.
because you can't say that in the same sentence. I expect to say my truth, but you can't say yours.
Yeah.
You can't say that in the same sentence. So then they're mentally not right. There's something mentally wrong. Because again, if you, and there was a transgender that was arrested a week after that transgender person shot up that school.
Yep.
They arrested a transgender from a sting that
As
they
a bomb.
did.
They were threatening a bomb.
Right.
But it's
And
a
they were
gun
going to
issue.
right. It was going to go to schools and churches. And it's like, why are you going to schools and churches?
You know,
they don't know
I
you.
remember that vaguely. I have not really heard that. I kind of remember that, but it's like I never even heard the story anymore because they try to like, let's sweep it.
Exactly.
It's always a distraction, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
the media does.
They're
Like,
gonna
if there's
keep
something
talking about the
major
victim.
going on, there has to be this sort of
The
distraction.
trial.
Trump's indictment.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The fucking
Yes.
woman saying that she fucking out of nowhere, the guy was fucking president for 4 years, fucking 3 years ago. And all of a sudden now, when he is going up for reelection
I
to try and
fucking
get
hate
elected
her.
again, she's like, "Oh, I had an epiphany." He
Go
raped me."
S-A-D again.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
like, what
I
the
don't. You
fuck?
can edit
I'm
that
like,
out.
where did this lady come from? And now that's all I see in the news. And the gym perpetuates that too, because they, a lot of like these commercial gyms
So-
have all these fucking TVs, and all they show are like news shit.
So
I
are
got,
we
like,
gonna have Bill Clinton go and face the government?
See, that's
since
when they
he-
opened up Pandora's box for that.
Isn't that guy like?
I mean,
dead
if
at this
Trump can go to face court charges
Mhm.
for paying off Stormy Daniels, can't Bill Clinton face charges for lying to the American people and take his oath?
and
Wasn't he involved with
Huh.
Epstein?
and being on Epstein's island,
There you go.
pictures with
Because
minors,
he
pictures of him
fucked
with minors,
Monica Lewinsky, and he admitted
pictures
it
of
later.
him in a dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
There's a picture. Epstein had a picture of Bill Clinton
Him
and
in a
George
dress.
Bush, both in a dress.
And his
That must have been a mockery thing.
Yeah,
I
it was like a
never
blackmail
heard
kind of
that.
thing because
Yeah.
he was supplying
Oh.
them with minors.
You never
Looking
seen it?
hat in this microphone.
I just saw it again, Kevin. But see, that's what I don't get. You're and look, you want to talk about blatantly, like everybody's been saying, like starting to say how it's looking like the government, the Biden administration is doing more things illegal to get what they want.
Mhm.
Dude, taking Trump to court over something like this, like you want to talk about election rigging. What is that you're doing?
To talk
That's why I
about
brought it up
election rigging.
earlier. They're so focused on Trump being the supposed public enemy number one, but everything else that's literally falling apart, and they're just like, "Oh, we don't have to worry about it. Like, we need to focus on this guy
Yeah.
because he's the destroyer of our
you can see it.
life here."
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then the other president. Wait,
Bush.
who? It was
Bush.
Bush. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I
But
had
I
to pull it
mean,
up for you.
you're talking about, this is election rigging 101 if I've ever seen it, because damn well Trump's gonna win. He's gonna win
He
because
has
now
way more
Well, Biden
support.
specifically said, like he literally said it. We are going to do everything in our power. That was recently too. Everything for him not to run or not to make it. Like
Yeah.
he literally said that.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
still have a problem with I don't think 80
That-
million people voted for Biden.
Nobody,
Well,
no.
Oh my
listen,
goodness,
listen.
yes.
I
There's
can't.
evidence that goes way back that every single election has been rigged.
Well, rig it for Trump then.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Well,
You know
it
what?
was probably rigged for
We need
him
to rig it
too,
for
to be honest.
Nobody
narrative.
likes Trump because he's not a politician and he can't be fucking bought. He
Listen, do
doesn't
you
have
want a
There you go.
pedophile as a president, or do you want a fucking mob boss that's gonna fucking protect you?
Yeah, and
So
he
do you
will.
want a
And
pedophile that's gonna fucking victimize your children and traumatize your children, or do you want a mob boss that's gonna fucking put in work and protect your fucking neighborhood?
because let's remember Biden's daughter, who said that she didn't like to take showers anymore when her dad was home because he liked to get into the shower with her. You
Yeah,
do.
so
Are you
she
talking
remember
about
she
the journal, the
purposely
diary?
the
that
diary?
happened?
Yeah,
The diary.
Yeah,
she purposely waited as
Yeah.
long as she could to so that she didn't have to
that's
shower with him.
fucking sick.
But
Dude.
wasn't he kind of doing the same thing to his other sons as well?
Hunter, I think Hunter, he was doing it too.
Well, look at
Um,
Hunter. Look
And
look
did
how
you see the
fucked up he
tattoo
is.
on his
That
back?
guy is like, I'm sorry,
Finger
but like,
licks.
No,
they
what
seriously
tattoo?
have some issues up here.
Finger,
yeah.
the
All
finger
of them.
legs.
He does have issues for sure.
What's the tattoo?
But so he has a
Finger
tattoo.
lakes.
The what lakes? What is it called?
Finger lakes.
Finger Lakes in New York. It's a
What's
fucking
that?
pedophile hub. That's where
Are you
Nuh-uh.
Like
serious?
trafficking and
Yeah,
like kids
there's
get
a-
missing.
It's a stamp.
Yep. And it's tattooed right
It's
across
tat.
the
Like it's
shoulder
the
by
ugliest
blades.
fucking tat, and you look at it, you're like, what the hell is that? And then you're like,
Is-
And
when
then you
see
look
the
at
map,
a-
you're like,
yeah.
holy shit.
You look at the map, you see all these rivers.
I mean,
all
and
these
It's
lakes.
just I just posted about that earlier on my
Did you?
not my personal social about that because I kind of like tried to do little.
And
at
do
the
you
normies.
do you understand like what gets me too is all the people that are like waving the Ukraine flag, Ukraine, Ukraine. You do know that we're funding Iraq,
Because where she
Who
just looked at it
funds
like,
Thank
Russia.
you. Thank you.
who
Yes.
funds Russia, and then Hunter is on the board of advisors in a company in Ukraine. So we're funding both sides of the
Let-
war, but yet you don't hear
My
much
guy
about the
and I,
war
we have a
on the
theory
news
that the
anymore.
whole Ukraine crap, like it's just a cover up. Like
It's money
all-
laundering.
it's money
Yeah,
laundering.
like that, and like they have something against Hunter Biden that they know if they expose him, the world would know the truth about that family. But Joe Biden himself is like, no, you know what? We'll go ahead and give you the money, exactly the amount of money that you want, in order to continue keeping that a secret.
Yeah, and then Zelensky
The-
makes a poor video, like a music video with all
Oh,
the
no,
bombing,
that
but yet I
kid.
don't see it on the TV that much anymore, which is quite weird.
Very weird.
I don't see.
In
it's
the
this big
beginning, it
war.
looked like a lot of the buildings that were supposedly airstruck, where it looked like they had exploded from the inside,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
It just
from the
didn't look
bottom
right.
floor,
hmm
or I don't know.
But we're funding both
l-
sides, and
so-
like, look how much we have given. That's our money. You
You're right.
guys all do know that the government doesn't print off extra money and then it sits in a thingy and then we just give it to Ukraine. That's our taxpayer dollars.
We get involved in shit like this on purpose, and it goes back to like World War II. We didn't want, the people of the US did not want to get involved with World War II. Okay. And then the government did. So what the government did was shut Japan off of oil. So Japan was like, what the fuck? And then they bombed fucking Pearl Harbor. And then once they hit Pearl Harbor, we're like, we're fucking gonna go fuck you guys up.
Oh,
That's how
I
they
didn't
that's
hear
how the
that
government
part.
yeah, and that's how the government got the people to back the war effort to go into Europe. And then
They need the
Vietnam was for
sympathy.
the hoppy fields for heroin. There's literally like what's his name? Horatio fucking or what? He's fucking the big mustache guy that does interviews.
Oh, Geraldo.
Geraldo. There we go. Yeah.
That's like Horatio. Who's that?
Person
I think
that came to my
Geraldo,
mind
man.
was
That
the
guy,
SNL
my
guy.
God.
Yeah, so he's over there interviewing U.S. soldiers who are guarding a fucking poppy field for their heroin for Vietnamese heroin operation, and he's talking to them about it. He's like, "Well, this is what they do for a living, and we're just protecting them." And like literally, he's going all interviewing like a journalist on them, and then like in the middle of it, you can see it on his face. He's like, "What? This doesn't make any sense."
Well, it's just like with the war in Ukraine. Jake, my husband, said that he was watching some videos that were popping up on YouTube one day, and you know how
This
there's
leaked. This
right, that there's American soldiers over there
Mhm.
because there's little Ukrainians hiding in the bunker like this, and they're handing American soldiers the ammo. And the American soldiers are going like this, which this is by US people, the finger. So, you know, Russia, other people do different signs. So you can tell it's American, and it's not Ukrainians that are over there fighting. And you hear Joe Biden slip when
Oh
he's
yeah.
talking about, you know, when he talked to, you know, when it first started and he talked to all the military people. Oh, yeah, yeah. When you get over there, it's a, what was that? Because you said we weren't going over there. But
So
he would slip and say little things like that. But there's Americans over there fighting.
did you hear about
Yeah.
the leak? So this congressman, I can't remember his name, but he literally was like, "There's no U.S. Fighting force or soldiers on Ukraine's soil." And then a week later, I believe he's a U.S. Marine. He's in the military regardless, and he leaked information that there are war efforts
Yeah.
from Americans
Yeah.
on Ukraine soil, which is a crime.
How? What do you
Because
mean?
like
How is that?
we shouldn't be involved. We're not supposed to be involved. That's
Okay,
We're not
I
supposed
didn't
to
know
be
if
involved in any war, period, because
true.
literally all this happens in the on the other side of the world. I don't know if I heard it correctly once in high school that I don't know if it was an amendment or the sort of thing that when World War I, World War II was happening, exactly what one of y'all were saying. We weren't supposed to get involved in the Second War to begin with. Like America kind of already established this sort of treaty that if it's not our issue, if it's not our problem, then we shouldn't be getting involved. But somehow the presidency, every single presidency, they want to get involved. They have to get involved because we're the supposed what's that thing? We're the
World
saviors.
police.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. We're the saviors. We're the ones that get to help everybody. But yet we screw ourselves over
Yeah,
in
if
so
we were
many
to get
things.
invaded right now by China or Russia, we'd be
Nobody
dead.
on that side of the world would come
No.
and help us. Oh, we can go to
No.
them
I
and
mean,
help them, but
we're
no one would come to
sending
our safety, our
right.
rescue.
Well, it's not only that. We just sent, I mean, look at all the military stuff we left in Afghanistan. That was a shit show. We left all our tanks and guns.
There's still
We
Americans
just
over there, is there not?
right, but we just
Yeah.
funded the terrorist groups with more stuff. That's just blows my mind. We're over there for 20 years to make sure terrorists don't have weapons, but yet we leave all the weapons. Don't get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then you're giving all of our stuff to Ukraine. At the same time, we're hearing Kim Jong Un showing off his ballistic missiles and China doing the same
Wasn't he gonna
thing.
shoot California like a few months ago?
Yeah, and China and Russia are talking. Dude, if we get hit, how are we going to defend ourselves? And it's the lowest ever that people have been enlisting in our military.
You want
You
to
know
know how
why?
we you know how
You
we
know
Yes,
why?
fight them?
Because
We
we
tell
got
them what our
boys.
pronouns are.
We got boys
exactly.
Because of
that are
that.
girls these days. That's why they're
Yeah.
boys that are skinny, scrawny. I mean, you look in
Or too big.
1963 or too
My
big.
best friend's husband, since he's still active with military duty, he told my husband last year on his birthday, like, hey, did you know the US Army is starting to give out these sort of like pass cards to the soldiers now, that if you have a general going up in your face telling you maggot and I have no idea all these things, you can go ahead and show that card and saying, hey, you're hurting my feelings, you know. Have you not heard about that?
No. Oh God.
I was like, so basically,
Yo,
You
I'm a
do know
pussy.
what the
I
military
heard.
is for,
I
right?
did hear that they are not allowing the sergeants and lieutenants and drill sergeants to call you sir or or anybody. You're not
Yep.
allowed to refer to anybody as sir or ma'am, but
Yep,
you
and
can
they want
refer to them as maggot and
and you
shit like
want and they want $80 million for DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion
yeah,
Wow.
programs.
yeah.
Well, that's again, I'm going to go back to that's your problem.
Mm.
If you number one, if you think that you're in the military to make friends, no, you're not.
You're in the wrong place.
You're in the military to fucking defend your country if need be. You're not there to make friends. So who gives a fuck what anybody calls you? They're going to call you your brother in the field, and that's it.
yeah.
And that could be anything. Brother could be anything. But you're not there to make friends. But that's where I'm going back to. Our parents in these past 20, 30 years have raised weak kids. There is no more strength. There is no more
How
kids.
dare you talk shit
I'd
about
say
my
Parents.
that's
parenting?
my generation, the
Oh, no,
millennials. We're at fault
I'm
for that,
fucking just
honestly.
kidding with you.
no, I'm not, Kevin. You
I
know what I
know.
mean.
I know.
It's parents, because here's the thing. Things have gotten more expensive in the 20, 30 years where
Oh
parents
yeah.
have to work jobs that are
Mhm.
more um, harder in the 8 hours, or they got to work 10 to 12 hours a day to make the money to make ends meet. So, what are they doing? Merry Christmas. Here's an iPad. Here's a cell phone. Here's your Beats. Here's your Apple iPod. Here's your computer. Here's your laptop. Here's a credit card. That's what are the babysitters, which then in turn, you don't get kids that go outside and use their imaginations anymore like I used to. I used to go
Me
out
too.
in the woods and by myself and take a rake and clean like where there would be 3 trees. And I'd clean like I'm making a floor in my home. And
Mm.
then I'd make mud pie. This is at 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
Or I'd have my bike and I pretend it was my car. And I'd make a path in the woods that was the store. And then this was the haircut shop. And then I go back home. Kids don't use their imaginations anymore. It's what game can I download on my phone or my
There's a
iPad?
two-parter to that. Like, I completely understand that point of view about like kids not using their imaginations anymore, because
But
yes,
parents don't make them.
declined. But also, like, it's gotten to the point where parents now, they're like, no, I don't want my kids out in the street because there's this car passing by. I don't know if that's a rapist. I don't know if that's a murder. And it's gotten to that point that yes, almost everyone is suspicious under parents'
True,
eyes
but we
because
also
of this
have to
whole.
raise kids that are strong enough to know. Like I was going to say, if you look up on YouTube, John F. Kennedy had made a what was it, like a USY health and fitness program. He was starting a health and fitness initiative across the United States.
Uh-huh.
Look at our boys back in 62, 63. They got muscles. In high school, they got muscles. They're out there doing chin-ups and running laps and everything. We're starting to take gym class apart from
Right.
our schools. You know what I mean? We have parents that when they tell their kids, "Hey, go take out the garbage." Their kids go, "No." And they run
Yeah.
upstairs and close the door. They don't, and you know what happened? The disciplining, because remember back in the 90s when the whole spanking your children,
Yes.
Dude,
people started calling on parents
Calling the
that they saw in
cops.
the parking lot of the
yeah.
grocery store. I'm seeing a woman spank her kid
I
really
remember that 'cause I
bad.
lived through that.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
So that discipline went away.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
and
For
A
that's
sure.
friend
where
of
it
mine actually
stopped.
went through that experience herself when her son was like, I think 3 years old. They were out in the mall, just her mom, and her son. And they're babies, right? They throw a little tantrum for every single thing. And that's what he was doing. He was throwing a tantrum and in public. So what she decides to do, my friend, she takes him aside and she's like, stop it, and she gives him a little spanking. but nothing to the point where he's bleeding, he's bruised or nothing. This other woman across the room, she sees my friend disciplining her own son, and she's like, I'm gonna call CPS on you.
See,
And she's literally threatening my friend, telling her like, you
no.
do not ever spank a child and I don't know what. And my friend tells off this other chick like, hey, that's my kid. I discipline my child the way I need to, you know.
Yep.
I'm not doing anything abusive. I'm just trying to show him, this is not right. That's not what we do. We do not throw a tantrum. I'm not doing anything aggressive, but
You
this
know what
lady
it
took it to
is?
a whole nother level.
It's just like the whole transgender thing. People are getting into other people's business, which I don't know why you want to be in my business. I don't know why you need to. I don't know why I want you to call me when I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Like to call you this pronoun or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
where have we become so into someone else's life?
Right.
I
God
don't get
forbid you
that.
call me the wrong pronoun. 'Cause I would
Right,
totally, like,
exactly.
To go off
I
of
don't even
that,
know you.
you said in the 90s became that big like child abuse push.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I grew up in the 90s. And every time I went to school and I had a scratch or a bruise, the guidance counselor would come take me out of class, bring me to his or her office, and they would ask me specifically how I got this bruise or scratch, and I would tell them. And then literally right after I got done telling them, they'll be like, oh, okay, so does your mother hit you? And of course, my mom did. And I'd be like, yeah, she does. Where? And then I would tell her where I get hit. And then the state ended up getting involved with our lives, and
No.
See, but
it
that's
was
what
weird. It got
but
weird.
that's what ruined it for today. Kids are not disciplined anymore, and you gotta crack a kid on the ass, man.
You
I'm
do.
sorry. If I go to a restaurant, I'll tell you right now, my two girls, whenever I would take them to a restaurant, they would be damned if they ever act up. And I don't like this thing where there's posting now on Twitter and all this of women going or people going, look at this poor parent that's being yelled at because her kid's screaming. Yeah, I would be that person telling you to shut your fucking kid's mouth because you should have your kid disciplined enough that if she says that's enough and smacks your butt, then it should stop. But no, it's more parents being a psychologist. What's what's the matter? Tell mommy what's wrong.
Well,
Did you have a bad day today? And it's like, no,
the thing
you
is,
picked
the thing is that there needs to be a healthy balance of both of those aspects. So,
exactly.
like growing up, I got my ass beat, but I wasn't told why. You know what I mean?
Right. You do got to be told why.
Yeah. So you also, not only do you need to implement the discipline, you need to let them know why and how to correct the behavior, because
Exactly.
if you don't also help them and explain them to them how to correct the behavior, then they become
Right.
people like me in high school, where somebody triggers me, trigger or gets me angry to the point where the only thing I know when I see my mother being angry with me, the only thing that she did when she was angry with me was beat the shit out of me. So when I get angry, I'm fucking beating the shit out of everybody I come across that makes me angry in high school, and then
That's a good point,
I
Kevin.
get suspended every fucking other week, and then eventually expelled, or then I get sent to juvie, and then I got put in a group home and shit like that. So
That's a good point. That's a good point that you made. And I believe you 100%. There needs to be more discipline, but there needs to be told why at the same time. Because to be honest, that's why we have a lot of boy girls, man girls,
The beta
because
girls.
they're not disciplined. All the kids are babied at home anymore. Again, and I'm not saying that it's the parents' fault in the way like they're trying to do that. You
society.
know, it's society. It's businesses get on mothers that are single moms and I need to get off an hour early today. Nope. And they always have the fear of being fired because they can't take off to go to their kid's ball game or they haven't spent much time with their kid after school because they work usually till, 7 o'clock. So society has made it hard for parents to be there,
Yeah.
to discipline. So it's been all these, but then all these have drag queen videos popping up with dildos flying everywhere, and kids see this shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And this is their entertainment. So then this is what gets their minds at 12 years old when they're standing in the mirror and
Or
there's a
younger.
girl and she's looking and she's like, I don't look like this Kim Kardashian. Oh, I don't look like Kendall Jenner.
Let me get this
So
cup
then,
and suction my lips and fucking cut the
right.
shit out of my
Oh my
lips
God.
and
So
fucking make my lips burst.
I'm gonna paint on 10 tons of makeup and I'm gonna be who I'm not to fit in. But then I still want to go out and ride bike and play with cars. Oh, I can have that conversation with my teacher. You
Yeah.
see how everything, it's just like, but look who's all in charge of it.
Yeah.
The government. The government's the ones that are telling blacks that we're all white supremacists. And there's the government that's telling all white supremacists that there's all that blacks are is stereotypical thieves and drug dealers and this and that. I see plenty of black professionals. The government is telling all you people to live off welfare because they're laughing at you behind closed doors. They're like, we'll just let Monica have 5 more kids and keep giving her these free housing tickets and WIC and food stamps because she's worthless. Here you go. But
Okay,
we
not
got her
that I want to
vote.
be
But
racist
we got
against
her
my
vote.
own, but that's exactly what's going on down here. Um, the the Mexicans and among I have no idea who else comes with them. They come here, and exactly what I think Kevin was saying earlier. Democrats are the ones that are like, yes, welcome them with open arms, give them all the money that they need. But what about us? Like, we're suffering. Like, for me, I'm low income. I need help, but somehow you can't help me because I'm working. So
Yeah,
that my income that I
You're a
make
U.S.
there is
citizen.
good enough for me to survive. Wait a minute, like I'm
you're
still
right,
struggling in a
Vicky.
lot of areas, and you're telling me I don't deserve just a little
Yeah,
bit of
and
help,
then
but
if you
these
try to
people all of a sudden
apply for
they get
something, you wouldn't qualify.
Yeah.
You're
exactly.
But
right.
everybody else qualifies for everything.
Boy, you know what? I haven't looked at that in a long time, Vicky. You are so right about that because, yeah, there's people that I know that applied for food stamps and they're working, but they make that too much. You think $19,000 a year is too much? Who the fuck are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$19,000 a year is shit. Where
It
you think
is.
that's,
It
but
is.
yet someone that you don't know what their background is, you're going to give them a cell phone, $400 cash, but yet all we see are empty Corona beer cases. So that's what your American dream is?
I
You
don't know
came
if it
over
was
here?
last year or the year before that the immigrants were receiving like over $100,000 in funds that they could use that money to buy themselves a home,
I
a
remember that. Yeah.
house.
Dude, I don't even fucking make that.
But yet,
I was like,
the
shit,
United States runs out of baby formula to feed our children.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. You're
Mhm.
right. Where the eye is not on us American people, it's the government that are looking for their own pockets. Because think about it, if we were to get nuked, say we got a warning. Hey, we heard through the grapevine through U.S. intelligence. Wonder if you saw on the news one day that and that tomorrow at 1:30 we're going to get nuked. Do you think the government would open up all these secret bunkers for us?
No.
No, but they think 80-year-olds or 65-year-olds on the fucking Congress and representative. But here's what I want to know. Who tells them that they're that important? You're not asking us. You're going to take all these old farts on Congress and the House and the government and put them in there. But who said that they're important? You did. Not me, not the American people. Don't you want to put new fresh people in those bunkers? But I mean, we're just people for them to step on. We're just people that pay their salaries, if you think about it.
Yep.
Because look, they're all just doing what they want to do. Oh, Ukraine, $1 billion. Here you go. Oh, you need 25 tanks. That'll only leaves 8 for us. Oh, fuck it. If we get invaded, fuck these Americans. Go ahead and give it to them. That's all we do is pay their salaries and get them all what they want. Climate change, you really think they give a shit about
Biden
climate
literally
change?
said that it wasn't real.
Give me a fucking
He
break.
said the quiet part out loud the other day.
He's
but
demented.
he is. So final thought, because we're over 2 hours. So
see what politics can do to you.
Yeah, I didn't
Never
even
ending.
realize. I just literally looked down at the clock in the corner and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I just saw it too.
But so there was this congressman who was he's a Republican congressman. He's a black guy, which doesn't matter what his race is, but so I don't even really know why I said it. But anyway, so so he's addressing the whole cabinet or whatever, and he's like, I think it's he's like, you come into Washington DC, you gotta get your bag scanned, you gotta get scanned, you got to go through metal detector to get into the building, or well, to get into the parking lot, and then you got to do it to get into the building, and then you got to do it to get into the office area. And outside of the building you have men with rifles and guns and tactical gear all around on the premises. And he goes, and I feel safe. Don't you feel safe? Now I wonder why we protect our children, our future, with a gun-free zone sign. Why are we more important than our nation's future? And that's what he said. I mean, I may have not said it word for word, but that's the general gist.
That was the point, yeah.
So
see, that's like I said, first of all, I think the whole government needs to we need to be able to put terms in.
Well, yeah,
like they should.
There's people.
They need to go lay down and take a nap. All this woke shit is like bullshit.
There's literally people in the government that are over retire age.
Oh,
yes, and they don't want to leave.
And they're all
because they're making the lobbyists
money that they are making.
They're getting
is
the money
ridiculous.
from the lobbyists and big pharma, you know, to push fucking bullshit fucking bills. So, but anyway,
well, this has been fun. We definitely need to do a part 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Who do we appreciate?
All right, everybody, that's the show. If you want to be on the show, you know where to get me. It's wheretheweirdonesa@gmail.com, and stay weird. So listen, we are more alike than we are different, and we really need to unite. The politicians are not our friends. They're more inclined to sell us out for money. And it's been happening for years. So if you think that they're going to save us, I promise you they will not. And a lot of things that were discussed in today's episode, you don't have to be 100% agreeable. You can completely disagree with everything. I still love you. I don't hate anybody for any of their things, for whatever they are, whatever they do. All I care about and have ever cared about are our nation's future, which are children. And from my perspective, from my point of view, my opinion, I believe that children should stay innocent as long as possible. And that's where I'm at with that. But I do want to bring something to your attention, because I forgot to mention it during this episode. So, Wernher Von Braun was on his deathbed, and I believe it was a journalist, or it was a woman, I know that, and she said that he would tell her things whenever she would go visit him. And there was a couple things that he said. He said, first, they're gonna scare you with war with the Russians. And then he said, and then they're gonna scare you with terrorists. And then they're gonna scare you with meteorites. And then they're going to scare you with aliens, extraterrestrial beings, and that's how they are going to take over the world and bring in the new world order, the one world government. So, they did the Russian thing. They did the terrorist thing. They did the meteors. And if you haven't noticed, there's been UFOs in the media a lot lately, so it's interesting. It's something to think about. So, like I said, though, we are more alike than we are different, and the more that we talk about and we discuss our opinions and our point of views, look, not everybody is going to agree on everything, because that's just not the way it's going to be. Everybody has different life experiences, so their perspectives are always going to be different. So, anyways, I just want you to know that regardless of who you are still a person, and you deserve love, and you are enough. And don't let anybody ever make you think otherwise. You deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. And with that, stay weird.
Thank you very much. Howdy. I'm the one that they're singing about. Yeah, I'm the Stars and Stripes forever. Star Spangled Banner. You can call me Old Glory, but let's just keep it simple. Just call me Flag. Oh, say, can you see? Okay. A little flag humor. Well, you probably don't recognize me. You say, who is that, Evel Knievel? No way. Yeah, you see, you can't recognize me because
I'm in my birthday suit, yes.
I'm wearing the original 13 here. Yeah. I remember Miss Betsy sitting there going, oh, this could be the start of something big. Whoa.
Oh, Tom, don't be a pain.
Yes. I was born June 14th, 1777. That makes me a Gemini. I'm kind of unpredictable, crazy. Yes. I like the outdoors, and I'm the life of any party, whether it be Republican, Democrat, Independent, Socialist, anything Libertarian, I'll be there. You know, I'm 204 years old. People say, Flag, how do you stay so young? Is it jogging? No. Is it tennis? No. It's waving. You know, we're talking about billowing, furling, and unfurling. Richard Simmons, eat your heart out. Yeah, but it hasn't always been easy for me, though. I had a tough puberty. Yeah, war, famine, invasion. And 1861, well, I had a little skin problem that broke out into 34 stars. But now, well, little patience, and look what we got now. Look at this. Hold on here. Ha-ha! Ha-ha! 50. Everybody's on here. Look at this. Alaska. Hawaii. Yeah, we got your Tennessee. How are you doing today? Here's Vermont. You can't get there from here. Oh, and there's California. For sure, totally. Like I said before, you know, I had a tough time for a while. I've been in a lot of wars. They fired missiles and muskets at me, but you know, come the dawn's early light, I'm still there. You know what I'm talking about? And you know, I've been made into everything from designer jeans to t-shirts, and I've even been a cape for Mick Jagger. Well, all right. The rocket's red glare. Well, all right. But people haven't always been respectful to me. Sometimes it's been tough. There have been some people try and spit on me, trample me, burn me. Foreigners and occasionally some Americans too, but I don't let it get me down because I'm not a stay-at-home kind of flag. You know, I've been to Europe. I've been to both North and South Pole. I was at Iwo Jima. Recently, I've even been to the moon. One small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Everything. You see me in all sorts of different postures. When I'm like this, that means everything is okay. When I'm upside down, well, put on your Mae West and hit the deck. But when I'm like this, well, that's not my favorite position because, well, that's half-mast. I don't mean to bum you out. I didn't come here to depress you, but I got to tell you something honestly. I haven't been getting out much lately. I guess it's not very chic to put up the flag anymore, you know. Muffin and I have a flag, but we haven't found it for very long. Hey, but look at it this way. Don't look at it as saluting me. Look at it as saluting yourselves. You know, hey, I'm just a flag, a symbol. You're the people. If I may say so from here, long may you wave.